G'day everyone and welcome to today's video. Well, I'm pretty excited today because I've received my first Simon Says Stamp card kit for March. So I've just received it and I thought I would just give this a go. So this is the kit here, and in the kit we have a Simon Says lollipop, thank you. We also have one 24 pack of Doris watercolour pencils, 3 envelopes, and these are really beautiful metallic envelopes. So I've got lavender, mint and white. There's also a Hello wafer thin die here. The paper pack here has 12 6-inch paper in it, and it's the spring flower collection, and I just can't wait to use it. Actually, it's beautiful paper. There's also these watercolor cards here which I'm really looking forward to using. The stamp for this month is the Stronger Together 6-inch by 8-inch clear stamp set, so I'm looking forward to using that as well. A 6-inch piece of lavender glitter paper, some cardstock, so I've got a piece of white, mint, lavender and cornflower. And there's also an inspiration page here from other artists. Now the first card that I'm going to be using is one of these watercolour cards. It's already pre-stamped, and this is absolutely beautiful, this card. So I haven't stamped it out, it's already stamped on some watercolour cardstock. And I just thought that I would just have a play with these pencils, get used to them, and this would be a good place to start. So I'll colour in all the areas, and this first card is going to be purples and pinks, and with a yellow centre for the flowers. Now, as you can also see, I've just got the one colour here and I'm lightly colouring it in, and then I'm going back over to where the petal meets the middle of the flower and just adding some more colour. This will add some depth to all the flowers on the page also. Now that I've finished all the colouring, I've just got a watercolour brush here, and this brush I got from just the local art supply shop. I'm just going to make sure that my brush isn't too wet, that it's just damp, that I can blend these colours out. And as you can see, the water pencil colours are really vibrant. I really love these. So I'm going to use the Hello word die on the front of this card, and I've just cut it out of just some black cardstock. I did decide to use my Ranger's clear embossing powder. This is my go-to embossing powder, and I use this probably 90% of the time. So I'm just going to emboss that. That'll give this a real nice shiny finish to the front of the card as well. Now I am going to use the glue that was in the kit and just glue that onto the front of my card, but I'm also going to use my T-ruler to help me make sure that this word die is on straight. So it's got a little bit of wiggle room there, so that's quite nice. Now I do have some liquid drops, 3D pearls here in lavender. No, it's not, it's lavandula, I think you pronounce it. So I'm going to put that just over my card. I am going to use the lavender cardstock as the base of the card also, and I'll just glue that down. Now while I've got everything out, I'm just going to stamp onto my lavender envelope here, because I think this really finishes off the whole card and envelope. So just making sure it's all straight. Just going to use some archival ink here just to add a little bit of interest to the front of the envelope. And that's this card finished. The second card, I'm going to use the white cardstock, and I'm just going to cut it down to a single card size here, and I'm just going to stamp out the flower image onto this card. Now I am going to be using the VersaFine Black Onyx ink. It's probably my go-to that I use, and just heat emboss that using once again the Ranger's clear embossing powder. So while I've got my stamping platform here and the stamp, I'm just going to stamp on the front of the envelope just using some archival ink in jet black, and that'll finish off this card set nicely. So I'm just going to use the watercolour pencils again, and this time I had done something a little bit differently. So remember, I actually used the clear embossing powder as well to heat set, and this will give the card a bit of a nice shiny finish on those black lines there. So I am using reds and pinks for the flowers as well, and just using the same principle. So once everything is coloured in, then I will use my water brush to blend that out. So I'm also finding not to have the water brush too wet. So I do have a paper napkin here, so if my brush is too wet, I can just wipe some of the excess water off. And these are blending pretty nicely as well. So I have used watercolour pencils in the past, but these are really, really nice and vibrant as well. Now I am going to stamp a sentiment underneath, so I'm just going to use my Tonic Tim Holtz platform for this, and I'm just going to stamp it out in some black VersaFine ink, and then I'll actually use the clear embossing powder as well, just to give it that shine. That shine will actually go nicely with the shine on the stamped flower image as well. Now I am going to cut down some of this card, so I don't want a lot of the white area showing, so just cutting that down, because I am going to use some of the coloured paper behind this, so I do want the coloured paper to be really noticeable on this. Now I did fold this, and I folded this on purpose that the back of the card will actually be a little bit wider, so I can actually just put a strip just on that back area there as well. So that's what I'm doing here, just measuring it up just to cut just a very small strip. I love doing this on cards. It does add some really lovely interest on the card, so when you open the card up, the paper will also still be there, if you know what I mean. So I have got some liquid pearls here in seafoam, and I'm just going to place some small dots all over the front of the card just to finish this off. So I've got this cardstock here that I'll be using for my third card. So the mint cardstock will be the base of my card. Now for the stamping, I am going to stamp on the white cardstock, and I'm going to use the floral here, and I'm going to stamp it twice, so once up the top and once down the bottom. And I'm just going to be using the archival ink in jet black to do this. Now a good trick here is if you are reusing a stamp and it's got ink on, get some clear acetate to put over your cardstock, and then you can place the wet ink over the top and it's not going to mark your card at all. This is something that I do when I'm using the same stamp often on one card. So once again, I'm just going to be using these watercolour pencils, and I'm going to be using blues and greens on this as well. So there's 3 different types of blues, so a dark, medium and a light colour, using the dark for the shading and then working to my lightest colour on all the flowers. So once again, I'm just going to be using my water brush here just to blend out these colours, making sure that the brush isn't too wet, that it's just damp. Now with this card, I am just going to fussy cut out one side because this will actually add some really lovely interest, and also the bottom of the card will have the patterned paper peeking through. Now the colour card that I'm using is like a bluey green colour, so this will go really well on the front of the card. So I am going to stamp a sentiment on the front, but instead of it being black, I am going to use my Distress Oxide inks here, and I think the colour that I'm going to be using is Salty Ocean. So all the products will be listed over on my website, and that website link will be listed down below. So once I've stamped it out, I'm just going to use the clear embossing powder just to use over the top, and then I'll just heat set that. That will give it a really nice shine to this card. I'm also going to finish this card off by using some Liquid Pearls by Ranger in baby blue, and that will be this card finished. I am going to stamp the envelope as well in the same stamp, and that'll finish this off also. So as this was my first card kit from Simon Says Stamps, I had so much fun doing this today. I've still got leftover cardstock as well, which I'll probably utilise for other cards, and I do hope that you have enjoyed this video for today. If you have, please give me your thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. And until next time, happy crafting. See ya!